So the obvious question is, did my keeping the cool rag on there and then cooling after the weld with the oil, will that keep the spring temper? And with the rag up there, I'm not removing the spring temper of the whole spring, obviously. If I did, it would only be on the end. And like the old saying goes, nothing ventured, nothing gained. So now my next procedure is to cut the lower piece off. Cut this off down here, and I will weld across that side, and we'll see what we have when we're done. Reversing the eyes on our leaf spring, working on our front suspension. And there you can see the final results of reversing the eye on our spring. And I have my spring shackles set up on this one side, and they have nylon inserts and washers on the outside. And we'll be doing the same thing over here, obviously. This is approximately where the spring perch is going to go. As you can see, I have my frame mounted up on sawhorses so I can work around them more easily and just have the front axle propped up. And I found that one of the things that I'm going to have to change or modify is right here, this inside of the spindle, or the hub, not the spindle. The hub is too long because it keeps the wheel out too far away from the kingpins and so forth. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that hub, but it'll end up with this kind of a spacing like this between the wheel and the hub. And all I did to figure out how much I was going to cut off was just flip the wheel around. As you can see, I have it on backwards. And for now, I didn't win any of the auctions that I was bidding on. So for now, I'm using these tires on the front. I know they're really, really small. I'm still looking for a set of 350 by 8 tires, not 450 or 400, 480. I want something shorter, but really not this short. These are tires that originally looked like this, very skinny. And thankfully they have tubes in them, and they came off of, I don't know, I'm not sure what they came off of, but they use them on golf carts and stuff like that. They're obviously not highway rated, but you put them on there and you inflate them and blow them out. And for Harvey Spooner, I have 30 pounds in these tires. Not sure exactly what it says on them. Oh, it says inflate to 35, so I guess I'm fine. But I'm sure if these little tires can take 35 pounds, you don't have to worry about your big monster tires on there blowing up. And even if the tire were to get punctured, you're not going to blow apart a steel rim. It's not going to shatter. I blew up enough bicycle tires when I was a kid to know that all it does is make a big bang and about scares the daylights out of you. So we got that done. I have got my spring perch just clamped in place, as you can see, and I'm figuring out what my height is going to be that I need it, and I think I'm pretty close right there. And what I'm going to do is I have these clamps on here. They're just sitting there, but they're actually going to be coming up from the bottom like this, and then I'm going to be welding some steel plates across the top that'll go across this away so that it'll hold the spring up in place. And of course I got to drill a hole right underneath where that clamp is to allow for the center rivet in the spring to settle up into the spring perch. And then we have to work on this part here. I'm thinking that I'm going to use, I have a couple of Craftsman wrenches. I'm thinking I'm going to use a couple of Craftsman wrenches bolted down through. The bolts will be welded into the wrench itself, and of course they won't be that long. I'll probably split them back in here, and then they will either be tied, bent down and tied into my round radius rods that look like this. And obviously I have to come at an angle here. Can't go straight back. I'm thinking I'm going to check on my geometry, but I might be able to go inside of the spring hanger and have the spring hanger on the outside, but I'm not sure about that, so don't quote me on it. That's what I'm thinking about. And I am going to weld some bungs into the side of the frame down here for these tie rods to bolt into. Same for front and the back. And speaking of the back, I got my new, to me, tires today. I bought from a local tire shop. And there they are, all mounted up in their glory. I even cleaned the wheels a little bit. But these are 205s. The other tires were 235s, so these should be a little bit shorter. Look at that. Dirty birds. Already messing on my tires. I need to get them inside. And I've got to work on how the hubs are going to mount to my axle. For the rear radius rods, I already know how the radius rods will anchor to. Let me step around here. Right here is the axle that goes with my rear end and sprocket and so forth. And it has these bushings here that allow for the change of it in case it has to be changed around, you know, not a perfect 90-degree angle. But what my thinking is that, let me move some junk. Very well prepared, aren't I? Very well prepared, as always. Aren't we always prepared when we make these videos? These will probably, not on the outside, these will probably get welded to that side. And you picture now the wheel up here and this down here. And I tried it with the big tires that I had on it before, and with this hooked into the wheel hub, this radius rod was going to run almost parallel with the frame, which is exactly what I want. Now that I have smaller tires, I'll have to do some more figuring. But these, yep, these are the brackets that came off the original mower. Of course, they were bolted directly to the frame. We're not doing that. And I'm thinking about my suspension for the back. You know, I was thinking today, I'm just making my job totally difficult. If I was just building a regular go-kart, they don't have any suspension. The axles are welded solid and like that. But I'm thinking that I can mount these to here somehow and bolt them onto the frame, or maybe they'll go this away somehow, so you'd be seeing them like that from the back. I don't know. We'll see when I get there. And also, I know I'm too close in. I got so much junk around here I can't back up very well. But like I said, we'll be putting our shock absorbers on there too. And I think between the shock absorbers and those springs, that we should have pretty good dampening in the back. The heaviest person that will ride in this won't exceed 300 pounds, probably 250. My oldest boy is probably around 250, maybe 225. I don't know exactly what he is now. But yeah, and most of the time it's going to be guys that are a lot lighter than that, like Noah. So that's where we're at. I haven't gotten a whole lot done, as you can imagine. I've got those tires mounted on the wheels and got the wheels cleaned up a little bit. And they're just test fitted. The wheels still got to be sandblasted and they'll get painted. I'm thinking the wheels are going to be bright red or bright orange, maybe Arian's orange, who knows. But yeah, probably can't do them orange because that's what Ken Coates is doing on his Dodge-Elay, or his Dodge-Lac, I guess it is. Dodge-Lac, is that how he says it? But we'll work on that when we get there. I'm going to reverse the shaft. Move more junk out of the way. I'm going to reverse the shaft on this steering so that the long part will come out on the right side, which will allow me to mount this away in the frame and have the long piece heading out towards the frame where it's going to be going through the frame. And I started to tell you, I haven't got much done because I've been working on lawnmowers all week. I sold a couple of lawnmowers. I had a zero-turn mower come in yesterday that I spent most all of the day working on. And had another one come in that I was going to fix for a customer, but that one had sucked a piece of metal down and jammed a valve. And I was just going to swap motors on the deck because it was one of those personal pace mowers, Toro. But the deck, when I tipped it up and was going to unbolt the motor, I could see daylight through it, pinholes here and there, and I decided it just wasn't worth it. And he had told me just to keep it because I had way more time into it than he wanted to spend on it. So that went to the scrap yard. And I went to the scrap yard, went to the dump. Been busy. This is the first day, this is Thursday, this is the first day that I have actually been able to work on the Goofy cart. That's why there isn't much done on it. So anyway, till next time, this is George, the Shade Tree Fix-It Man, telling you that we have a John Kerry day going on here. It's about 70 degrees. Not a cloud in the sky. Thanks for watching. Maybe I'll have another update tomorrow. Be nice to get that front suspension all hung in there. That was my goal, I think I said last time. But, yep, other things come first, and when you get a chance to make some money to buy parts, then you gotta do it. Okay, I'll give you one more little thing. We had that thing set up for a grill, but I'm thinking that now maybe we're not going to use that. Maybe we're going to use this. It's nice and rounded, and I'll cut it out and put a grill in it and give it a cool shape to it. We'll see. That's another thought. And then that would just be polished. You know, like the old Model A's and Model T's, some of them had polished aluminum or nickel plated radiator shells. We could do that on this. Thanks again for watching. Bye now.